Press record for the audio freaks.
I'm going to press record, but what a fucking day. Here we go. Record to the computer. What is up, freaks? Welcome back to Rabbit Hole Recap. It's your boy Marty Bent here with my good friend Matthew Odell on what I believe will be a very, very historical day in human history, particularly in our lives.
Holy shit.
Right? Should we just jump right into it?
The emperors are naked and they're running around with their heads cut off.
Buy Bitcoin. They are running around with their heads cut off. Obviously, I'm sure you freaks are aware of what's going on. Let's just do a little rehash. The Tendy Army on our Wall Street Bets, a subreddit, has targeted GameStop as a stock that they want to buy because particular hedge fund Melvin Capital and others were net short 140% of the overall stock issuance. So the Tendy Army saw that and saw an opportunity for a short squeeze arbitrage, and a bunch of retail investors using Robinhood and other brokerage accounts bought a bunch of GameStop. Are you listening to me live?
I got you. My fault.
And they took advantage of it and were successful for the first few days of this week. It got to a point where the powers that be did not like what was going on yesterday. CNBC was going crazy. Everybody was talking about it yesterday. People were saying, these inmates are running the asylum. When somebody needs to step in. And this morning, Robinhood and other brokerage firms basically said you can't buy the stock anymore. You can sell it. And in some instances, Robinhood just stepped in and sold GameStop stock on behalf of their users without even asking. And it's insane, man. So let's jump into it. Let's get your thoughts first, because I have some theories. I'm like going all over the place right now. I'm so jacked up. I couldn't even write this morning, so I got to write the Ben after this.
Well, first of all, apologies to the freaks for that little bit of echo there. That was on me. This is craziness. I didn't even know about the forced sales. That's something else. But
you didn't know about that?
No, I know they stopped people from selling, and it wasn't just
stop people from buying.
They stopped people from buying. It wasn't just Robinhood. It was also, I think, E-Trade and TD Ameritrade as well. So all popular brokerages for like a general retail type of trader, like the average user. There's a couple of things. I think this is kind of part of our thesis in terms of the Great Awakening, in terms of people need to get burned before they really realize shit is wrong, and they get motivated to try and improve their situation. And it just happens to be on this like epic scale. There's so many different facets here. I don't know where to start, but there's so many different facets here, from free markets to what is manipulation, to decentralization, to just this general concept that if you have these centralized third parties that are controlling any of these systems, they are ripe for abuse. There's gonna be corruption there. They're gonna always abuse their power. That's just the human spirit. That's the way the humans work. And the only way we can avoid that is if we have systems and networks that are designed in a way that a few cannot change the system. And Bitcoin is perfectly positioned in that ability. Even something like, this is like what we've been speculating for the longest time in terms of self-custody bans, or freezing unregulated custodians, regulated exchanges. Like, this is the playbook. The playbook is unfolded in front of our eyes, and they didn't need any kind of new laws or anything to do it. It just there was a couple calls that were going on behind back doors, and the powers that be just cut off the on-ramps. And in the case of Bitcoin, you can see them cutting off withdrawals at the same time.
Yeah. So there's so much to this story. There's so much interconnectedness between Robinhood, Citadel, Janet Yellen, Ben Bernanke, that we should really, I think we're going to spend like an hour on this topic alone. So it's disgusting what's going on. Yesterday, everybody pearl clutching CNBC, all the hedge fund managers like, oh, this isn't happening. This isn't fair. This is manipulation. When Melvin Capital, itself was arguably manipulating GameStop's stock down towards zero. Again, the retail investor stood up, saw this opportunity. It's in the open. It's within the rules of the regulations set forth, and they took advantage of it and were extremely successful. And this scared the shit out of the powers that be. So I don't think this is like censorship. It certainly is censorship. It's not a censorship issue. I think what the Tendy Army from Wall Street Bets was doing was pulling forward a systemic collapse to the present day, because Citadel has their hand in this. So they're loaning funds to Melvin Capital to take the short position. And so if Melvin goes bust on that particular position, Citadel is affected negatively. And if you freaks remember, back in September of 2009, when we had the overnight repo market spasm, when there was a liquidity crunch in the overnight lending markets for banks and primary dealers, that was incited by a months-long transition out of cash and into treasury bonds by JP Morgan. So JP Morgan went from cash to treasury bonds, and that cash otherwise would have been lended out to these hedge funds to cover their margin trading. So when JP Morgan pulled that liquidity out of the market and went into bonds, the liquidity for margin lending dried up, and you had that overnight repo spasm where the rates spiked to like 14% or something like that, which is astronomical in those markets, particularly, especially considering the interest rate environment we've been in. And what we came to find after months and months and months, what happened was that the overnight repo bailout was very swift. It happened in the course of like 12 hours, I believe. And what the Fed did is they expanded the amount of primary dealers that could access its window. And so like usually it's just typically banks and some other clearinghouses and stuff like that. And they added the FICC to the list of primary dealers that could access the Fed window, started pumping liquidity into the FICC. But the FICC was essentially a proxy for the Fed to fund the margin positions of Citadel, Point72, and Millennium, particularly, who weren't able to access the liquidity from JP Morgan anymore. And so what we had happen was the Fed basically bailed out three hedge funds, two of which are very heavily involved in what's going on right now this week. And so we know from that instance alone, like it came out, that is what happened. The Fed had to bail out these hedge funds in 2019. Moving forward to this week, I think the Tendy Army and their GameStop short squeeze is a black swan to Citadel and Point72 specifically, too. Again, lending to Melvin Capital. And it's something that highlighted and again pulled forward a systemic collapse of Citadel, which is a very important systemic business in the hedge fund world and the banking system, or not the banking system, but just in the hedge fund world. And so basically, I believe that. So like this is like the crazy thing. Like again, Robinhood didn't stop. they just won't allow you to buy the stock, so you can't go up, and they're selling it.
Fucking scam.
They're selling it automatically to drive the price down to get it closer to the short position, so these hedge funds don't go bust. Like the way, the fashion, and the abruptness of everything that's going on right now leads me to believe that there would have been a systemic collapse if this stuff didn't happen.
If there would have been, there's still going to be.
Exactly.
I think, first of all, to the freaks, I mean, I am in shock. This is, to me, this is the most exciting times you can be alive, right? This is when you have all this chaos and people are trying to figure out what the fuck's going on. And I feel like so many of our theses have been confirmed here and have been brought to the light. And people, I've been digging up tweets that people thought were crazy 6 months ago, and then you retweet them now and they're like, well, this is the dumbest, simplest take ever, right? Because it's just right in front of everyone's eyes. And that's exactly like what you want to see. Like I've never been more bullish on Bitcoin and everything we've been focused on for these last couple of years as I am today because of everything that's going on. But I mean, to be completely clear here, like believe that the only manipulation that has gone on is the manipulation that we've seen to pop this thing, this manipulation with Robinhood and E-Trade, and the powers to be, to try and stop this short squeeze from happening. I think on the short side that was a manipulation. I think on the short squeeze side that was a manipulation. And what people need to realize is, yes, it's a great narrative that is Wall Street bettors, and average Redditors versus hedge funds. And it absolutely is. They're a key part of this NIM meme army, which is also something that I think Bitcoiners like really relate to and resonate with. But part of Robinhood's business model was they're selling the retail flows of their traders. So presumably there's other hedge funds that are that have been front running the Redditors and amplifying any power they have. So their own, parasitic business model kind of turned against them. And I think there's an interesting, there's a really interesting element here to me, in that one of the biggest takeaways is, I think, and I've always thought this way, that in a truly free market, there's no such thing as manipulation. It's just simply price discovery, and different participants might have different techniques to try and exploit the market for their profit, but nothing there, all is fair because it is a proper free market. Well, the markets we have today aren't really free markets. They're manipulated by design. All the regulations, all these bodies that decide when they get to halt trading and when they don't halt trading, like even before they removed this stuff, they halted GameStop yesterday like 15 times or something ridiculous. Like that's the real manipulation. And Bitcoin's the first chance that we've ever really had at a global liquid free market. And I've had the shitcoiners come at me when I keep saying this. Like they don't realize the shitcoin markets are the Bitcoin markets. They're under us. They're part of our markets. When I say the Bitcoin markets are the most global liquid free markets in the world, and then nothing even fucking comes close, that includes your little ass shitcoin market.
Yeah. And again, let's stick on the Robinhood thing and dive through this a little bit more. So Ken Griffin, who's part of Citadel Securities, which is obviously involved in this too, is an investor in Robinhood. The Janet Yellen, rumors are going around that she made some calls last night. The SEC made some calls last night and said, shut this the fuck down because we cannot have it happen. Janet Yellen paid $800,000 over the course of the last 2 years by Citadel for giving speeches between her time as the Federal Reserve Chairwoman and her time now as the Treasury Secretary. So you have the sort of perverse incentives there. And then it seems very, very odd the way this all went down, because the optics, obviously, you look at what's been going on social media every day, the reactions. You have Dave Portnoy coming at Steve Cohen, telling him that, like, saying, sending everybody to prison. Like, it had to be obvious that this was going to be the reaction, and they decided to do it anyway. And again, they didn't halt trading. They halted buying. Like, you could sell the stock, you could not buy. Like, that is like, you could only sell into the people holding the short positions. It's insanity.
Who are you selling to? No one could buy except for the privileged people. And
some people couldn't even fucking hold. Like, Robinhood just straight up sold their stocks for their protection. And that right there, like that the screenshot that's going around of Robinhood being like, we're doing this for your own protection. That is like some gaslighting Orwellian like tactic. That's like projecting on their users what they're actually trying to do. They're trying to protect Robinhood, Citadel. And again, like, I would not be surprised if this is happening today, particularly because it's just like, all right, this like cannot go on any longer because Citadel will collapse. And if Citadel collapses, it's one of the biggest market makers in the world. That'll lead to a contagion effect, a domino effect that we cannot control. And again, going back to September 2019, the fall of 2019, when that overnight repo market spasm happened. Here's how levered Citadel was. They had 25.7 billion or million? Billion. 25.7 billion in assets, and they had exposure of $194.2 billion to the market. So that's like it's like an 8x an 8x lever. They were levered 8x back then. Had to be bailed out. Not very humble at all. So one can only imagine how levered they are right now, especially since they're lending money to Melvin Capital, who's levering the short position by 40% as well. Yeah, man, it's fucking nuts. It's a little scary, but it's also like, it's invigorating. I'm jacked up right now. Like, this, as scary as it is, if there was a systemic collapse, it's also beautiful. It's an incredible day because people are fucking waking up. They're pissed off more than ever. They're asking questions. They're looking for accountability, and hopefully they seek out solutions like Bitcoin that can help us get away from this rigged system. It is a 2-tiered system. Rules for thee, but not for me. Like, this is exactly what we've been talking about since we started this podcast, and nothing has made this more obvious since the show began than what happened today and this week.
Yeah, I mean, if we were in Bitcoiners, if we hadn't, already been tuned into these risks and these realities before today, I mean, we'd be pretty scared right now. I think it's important for Bitcoiners to realize that there's a lot of people scared out there, and there's a lot of people that were maybe scared or were desperate, backs against the wall, and then all of a sudden, they're degenerate all-ins with Wall Street bets, like brought a ton of money, paper gains into their Robinhood accounts, and then they just got rug pulled by our own government. So it is definitely a crazy time. Hopefully it woke people up. I mean, I think this is like this whole year, 2020, and now going into 2021, we've barely even begun, has just been one massive advertisement for the value prop of Bitcoin, distributed networks, free open source software, like everything that we stand for. And, our boy Parker, he tweeted out, he was like, oh, you better take your bonds and stocks out of the custodians, before shit goes down. You can't do that, right? Like, this is, there's an intimate, and also another thing is, so we have the self-custody. There's so many different elements here. Another big thing is this myth, this idea that like short sellers can suppress the price of Bitcoin. We can finally put that fucking one to bed. Like, if they try to do that to us, we will fucking crush them. Like, there's no way that short sellers can suppress the price of Bitcoin. We will stack, we will take self-custody, and they will ultimately get wrecked eventually. They cannot use the same tactic to stop that kind of move.
Exactly, because of rehypothecation came into play here, where people were lending out stocks beyond the total issuance, which has allowed this epic short squeeze to happen. And you can't do that with Bitcoin, especially if people take self-custody. Like, you can't lend out Bitcoin that people are holding on a hardware wallet. The exchange can. They can lend out the Bitcoin on exchanges and places like BlockFi, but if you take control of your Bitcoin, you are going to be fine. You are not exposed to systemic risks of the lending markets and Bitcoin, the collateral markets. And that's got me questioning now. Like, if this could lead to a systemic event, like, should we be telling the freaks to pull their Bitcoin out? Because all these exchanges are exposed to the banking system too. Like,
always.
Like, I mean, always, yes, but like, especially right now, like, if
100%.
Like, I think
I never, in normal times, I can't keep more than $100 of the Bitcoin on any of these fucking services. But right now, I feel like it could be at any moment, all of these services could either cut off buying or cut off withdrawals, or
and like,
both.
What if they did what Robinhood did, and just like, maybe that's like how the government attacks Bitcoin. They go to the exchanges, like they went to Robinhood today, or whoever went to Robinhood today, and say, just fucking automatically sell it for them. We need this price to go down. Like, we need this to go in our favor. So just automatically liquidate your customers. Like, don't even give them the option. Don't let them buy, only let them sell. And you know what? Force sell for some of them for their own protection. It's insanity, dude.
And then you see the chart. You see the chart of GameStop over $400. Robinhood closes buys, and then you just see it go straight fucking down.
Exactly.
It's like the biggest, and at the same time they're saying, oh, manipulation. Fuck you.
Right?
That's fucking ridiculous.
Again, projection. They're trying to project onto us plebs what they're actually doing. They are the ones manipulating these markets, and they're trying to, again, fuck you, CNBC. Everybody on CNBC is a bunch of fucking lapdogs. Not everybody, but a lot of people on CNBC fucking apologist for this fucking
boy Joe.
For this fucking kleptocratic. I don't know. Joe's on my shit list right now. I don't think he's
not Weisenthal, because he's Weisenthal's Bloomberg. Our boy Joe on CNBC Squawk Box.
Not Joe Walsh.
Is it Joe? Am I wrong?
Yeah, it is Joe.
So much my boy, I don't even remember his name. But anyway, he was the one he was the older guy who got orange pilled early on this year.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah,
can't think of his name.
I don't know what his takes were like. I'm hoping his takes were good.
Freaks, we're not looking at the comments today because we've gotten complaints about adding the comments from people who listen to the podcast on the audio version. So I'm sure some of you
Joe Kernan.
There it is. You're looking at the comments.
I did not look at the comments.
Yes, you did. Joe Kernan, yes. He's a good CNBC, but everybody like that Scott guy. And that is another crazy thing about what's going on this week. You're seeing battle lines being drawn. There's the titans of the fund world and the elite class. You have the Chamath, Dave Portnoy stepping up saying, this is fucked up. We are going to side with the plebs. And then you have the other side. So you have this bifurcation at the elite level where it's like, pick a side. Are you for the manipulation by the crony capitalist class, or are you for the plebs? Are you for fairness? This is the most unfair thing that I've seen maybe ever in my life. I mean, the bailouts of 2008, unfair. The stimulus bill that was passed, unfair. This is so fucking egregious and outrageous. It's like, that's again, like it keeps going back. Like, why would they ever do this if it was not going to lead to a systemic collapse? Like, I think the Tendi army is a black swan on the financial system. They was pulled forward a collapse, and they had to react in this fashion. That is what, like, I am becoming more convinced that is the case, because why else would they act in this fashion? Like, you can't justify, market manipulation by Reddit. Like, that's not a strong enough argument, in my opinion, or justification.
I mean, just because they did it doesn't mean that it was, the logical inconsistency there might be that we're saying that it could have been a systemic collapse and that was the logical reasoning for them to do it, when in reality they could have just been greedy fucking assholes who aren't used to losing and wanted to exploit the rules for themselves to stop that from happening, right? But I mean, obviously, I think we both agree just in general that there's massive systemic issues. In terms of the battle lines being drawn, I just wanted to say that the absolutely worst people are the poor journalists who are defending it. Instead of, like, if you're like a uber rich billionaire hedge funder and your buddies are getting fucking crushed here, like, I completely understand you just talking your book and defending your buddies, right? But like, if you're making, barely above minimum wage writing as a fintech journalist and you're defending these big players, like, go fuck yourself. Like, what the fuck are you doing with your life?
Yeah. You're a pleb too, motherfucker. You're just sucking dicks. Like, you're not actually helping out with anything. You're, again, projecting. Something is wrong. They're trying to say, hey, you plebs are wrong. You're doing something wrong. They're projecting what is actually what they're doing onto everybody else. It's fucking disgusting. It's disgusting, dude. It has gone on for way too long. It needs to fucking end. And I hope to God that this is the week where people finally wake up in mass enough to say, we got to fucking stop this. We can't do this anymore. Like, it is so egregious, so in your face. Like, if people don't wake up after this, even though we have Bitcoin, I may lose hope. Like, I may be like,
I think some people will wake up. Most won't. I think I
don't know, man. Dude, I don't know. Everybody, my phone has been blowing up today from people I never would expect. Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, this is insane.
I keep on both sides. I keep getting surprised that I feel like this last year, just over and over again, I keep expecting the powers to be, they pushed it too far. Maybe they won't push it further. And they keep pushing it further. So I think no matter what, it's just going to keep getting pushed further. It's going to keep escalating. They're going to keep doing more and more shit in our face.
But now people are becoming more incentivized 100%. To push back.
Like, we're closer to the turning point. We're 100% closer to the turning point where we hit like a majority of people, not even a majority, but like a viral minority that pushes us past the limit where people start really waking up in mass. But it's still going to take, I think it's still going to take a little bit while longer. People, obviously, like we don't realize like our thinking over the last however many years is being solidified here. These are things that we've been considering for a while. Some people woke up today and this was the first time they realized there's a problem. And it's going to take some time. But if you think about like where we're going, right? I think we're going to a place where we will have global liquid markets that allow you to interact with them in a private and relatively private way and a sovereign way. In the most free markets we've ever had, right? And in those types of markets, people are just going to have to accept that these concepts, these fraudulent concepts that we've come accustomed to in our society in terms of market manipulation, insider trading, wash trading. These aren't things that you can enforce in a proper proper free market. And we're just going to have to deal with that. That is what price discovery is. That is how we have more efficient markets. That's how we have markets that aren't controlled by a select few for their own profit and used in that way. And that is going to be the end result. And that is all going to be powered by Bitcoin. On the back end, that's all powered by Bitcoin.
Bitcoin is the only free market in the world right now. Straight up. Staying on this tip, our boy Danny DeKroger from Cash App, which Cash App, all right, I had freaks in my mentions this morning saying Cash App took GameStop trading off the app. I contacted them because I was worried. I was like, damn, you guys censoring this shit too? They never had GameStop offered as a stock. If you've been paying attention to their stocks offering on the app, they've had a very limited selection. And the explanation I got was GameStop's market cap wasn't large enough to ever add. And then this week they just didn't add it. And then people were like, oh, they stopped AMC and Nokia too. You can find a tweet. I bought some AMC stock. So they haven't halted it to the best of my knowledge. But our boy Danny here, and I don't know if this is true. This is a Reddit post from a apparent Robinhood insider. I work for Robinhood. Don't kill me. Low level, technical shit, comp science major, not financial side. So this guy's a dev. Guess what we overheard today? Vladimir, yes, founder Vladimir and the C-suite received calls from Sequoia Capital and the White House that pressured it into closing trading on GameStop, etc. I guarantee you the same took place at E-Trade and the others who closed trading. File reports on the SEC page. If I wasn't scared to be out of work in a pandemic, I'd quit. I'm disgusted. We all need to rise up. This is as bad as it gets when we talk about how the rich get one set of rules and the rest of us get screwed over and over and over again. Let them bail them out and pick up the tab for their $1 trillion tax breaks. And then it goes on from there. But yeah, apparently it got so intense at the White House, Treasury Yellen with this broad right here with connections, with an incentive to help Citadel out because they paid her $800,000 over the course of the last 2 years. Again, this is alleged. This is a random Reddit post. It could be completely fake, but it would not surprise me if it's too obvious. Like she's been paid well into 6 figures, close to 7 figures by this firm at the center of this controversy. She's now the Treasury Secretary. Yesterday, the White House, the woman who speaks to the journalists, I forget her title or whatever it is, she said they were paying attention to this, Yellen specifically. It all stinks, man. It stinks to high heavens. It stinks like shit.
Yeah, I mean, if you have money, unless you have physical metal or Bitcoin in your self custody, or just Bitcoin. I mean, because if you don't have self custody, you don't own Bitcoin. You don't have any kind of wealth whatsoever. Those are literally the only two censorship resistant stores of value that exist. Everything else requires permission from the state and various corporations that are affiliated with our states, and they can be cut off from you at will. They can be taken from you at will. And as people realize that, Bitcoin adoption should increase dramatically and the price should increase dramatically. Like I feel like there's a massive there's a massive disconnect here between what is and it comes with the cashless society that people just this is a new phenomenon that we really haven't been in before. This idea where that just all of our everything, our whole lives are just digital and can just be, canceled. Like one thing that people didn't talk about with the Trump Twitter ban, they didn't talk about as much, I feel like, as him being able to actually tweet out, is this idea that all of his past tweets were erased at the same time. Like, sure, people have archives in other areas, right? But any tweet that you've had in the past that related to one of his tweets now is disconnected from that like social graph, right? And just like erased all the past. And when you have that happening to speech, that's extremely scary. And when you have that happening to money, that's extremely scary. And people need to start fucking waking up.
Completely agree. And to your point there, cash, like again, maybe I'm just too tinfoily hatty today and just connecting disparate things that have nothing, that are not really related, but I'm just assuming they are. But God, the BIS coming out yesterday, Augustus Carstens from the BIS coming out saying that the central banks are the best position to bring a digital sound money to the globe and bring us to a cashless society. And then I believe he said he believes that 20% of the world will be using central bank digital currencies within the next 1 to 2 years or something like that. So they seem, the powers that be, whether it be the Federal Reserve, the White House, the hedge funds here in America, all the way up to the Bank of International Settlements, it just seems like they feel urgency to push us and push us and push us in this direction. And it leads me to believe that something is terribly, terribly wrong behind the scenes. And remember, there were signs of this before the pandemic, like the spasm, like in the repo markets was like a fucking canary in the coal mine. And it's a year and a half later, and maybe like, again, this Black Swan Tendi Army event is pulling something forward. Like the
guard literally said, if there's an escape, people will use it. We need to block all the exits. Like, she literally said that on tape. Like, we have her saying that. That is not a conspiracy, right? And so they need to cut, like, especially if you want to go into negative rates, like, you need to cut off any kind of exits. If you want to have mass surveillance, if you want to go into negative rates, you have to cut off the exits. And specifically negative rates, I mean, they're desperate to get there, right? If we want stonks to go up forever, like, they need to be able to easily manipulate the rates underneath. So it does feel like it's all coming together. If you want to talk about all of that at the same time, Tor got attacked again,
right.
all while this was going down. So we had, it appears the subreddit was pulled for a little bit. Wall Street Bets subreddit was pulled for a little bit.
It was pulled by the mods, though. They explained this. They pulled it. They were getting too much traffic, and they wanted to take it down and make sure they could handle it. And so people weren't posting shit. I think they had to adjust to prepare for bots.
Okay, and the Discord did get censored.
The Discord, yes, right? Discord got completely censored with the justification.
And then at the same time, Tor got attacked again for the first time since the Capitol riots. So it does kind of feel a little bit all connected.
Right.
But who the fuck knows? All I know is I just, I stacked a little bit more today.
I stacked hard yesterday when all this shit was going on.
I really don't do not keep more money in custodians than you're willing to lose.
Yeah.
It's so bad right now. Like, I do not,
if you've been complacent,
playbook. It's literally the playbook. People who tell you that there's no political will to block withdrawals out of Coinbase or Cash App, but we just saw fucking them block buys on fucking GameStop. Like that.
Right?
Like, of course, there's political will to block Bitcoin withdrawals. Like, they don't need a new law. They don't need any kind of FinCEN ruling or anything. Like, it could just happen. One day, calls could go out and it could fucking happen. Do you have enough Bitcoin? Have you learned how to use it privately? Are you comfortable with it? Like, are you ready to go? Because if you're not ready, like, that's going to bite you in the fucking ass pretty soon.
Yeah. Yeah. And I guess, do we want to wrap up? I could go on for fucking hours of this shit. But one thing I want to mention is the zeitgeist behind the Wall Street Bets 10D army, right? They're attacking this hedge fund. Again, they noticed it was overexposed in a short position, wanted to squeeze it out, but also there seems to be an impetus driven by anger at the system, at the unfair system, after we're getting kicked in the dick year after year, and Wall Street and the kleptocratic elite just taking over. Last year, billionaires increased their wealth 10 to 20 times over, while 20 million, 30 million Americans lost their jobs. 40, 60% of small businesses had to fold under, and people are getting fed up. This is the move against Melvin Capital this week is activist. It's activism. It's what Occupy Wall Street should have been. The technology didn't exist to make it happen back then. The social communication tools didn't exist to make it happen back then. 2021, completely different story. We have the tech to make it happen. We have the social media apps to communicate with each other, and people were able to coordinate and actually do something meaningful, something that actually fucking hurt the big guys, put a chink in their armor with this move against GameStop, like actually having skin in the game, capital in the game, and fighting back against the big guys instead of, and I'm not trying to denigrate Occupy Wall Street at all, but I think you would concede and I would concede that like it did nothing other than be like, oh, people are pissed. This was action that actually had an effect.
Yeah, I just right. The next step is to reach your Bitcoin Zen and start stacking, right?
Yes,
Because,
exactly.
like, obviously, like, this was like, you can't win a rigged game by playing that rigged game. You have to just fucking play a different game, right?
Exactly.
And that's what these guys are realizing now. That the powers that be won't let them get away with it unless they play a game where the rules they don't have control over.
Yes. If you freaks are listening to this right now, if you're watching this right now, and you've been complacent about getting your sats off your exchange of choice, do not be complacent anymore. Download Blue Wallet, move your funds, learn how to take custody of them. It's time to act. Like Matt said, if they can fucking stop buying on GameStop, what is to stop them from stop people from buying Bitcoin? And again, they force Robinhood to sell some of their users' positions. Like, imagine if they did that to Bitcoin. Imagine the price suppression.
They did Doge too.
Did they?
Yeah, so Doge hit a new all-time high because, of course.
Did they shut it down, or did they force sell positions?
No, I didn't know about the forced sale to begin with on the GameStop stuff. So, with that grain of salt, on Doge, they did stop the buy button. They blocked the buy button on Doge after it hit an all-time high, which is classic Doge with the Doge pump. But yeah, the same exact thing. Like, that is, I'm almost. We were already making these kind of predictions for Bitcoin in a Bitcoin Tina type of green NAD situation, like rip your NADs off green candle situation, right? That they could close the on ramps. That I never thought about closing the buy button, but they could close the buy button as well. And here it's just, we're just watching it fucking really play out in real time to millions of users.
Yeah. So here's the screenshot of a Robinhood user. Robinhood's apparently selling people shares, quote unquote, for their own good. So somebody noticed that like Robinhood put on a sell order for them, and they tried to cancel it. And here's the error they got: we're sorry, this order can't be canceled, and we placed it to mitigate the risk to your account. We placed it.
So it was like a margin
placed
call.
it. No, it wasn't a margin call.
They weren't person leveraged.
I don't believe so. It's a market sell. No, it's a market sell. It's a market sell. It's not an option sell. So,
because on Robinhood, I mean, Robinhood got a lot of shit that on Robinhood you can, like, unsophisticated traders can get into option situations where they're negative a shit ton of money. Like, didn't like some kid like committed suicide?
Yes.
Which I think is predatory in the first place, right? Like, one of the cool parts about BitMEX. Now they have KYC, but I've never used BitMEX. But one of the cool parts about BitMEX was if you were a degenerate and you tried to leverage trade there, like you only lost the Bitcoin you deposited. You didn't have like a debt against your family and all your future, your future descendants like had to serfdom to Robinhood to pay off your debt.
Yeah. Crazy times, freaks. Crazy times. Invigorating times. Tumultuous times. But again, like I tweeted out earlier today, I'm extremely optimistic about the potential for positive change that can come out of this. Yes, it's scary. Yes, it's fucked up. But I'm excited to see people riled up about this. I'm excited to see Chamath and Dave Portnoy getting out in front of this. Portnoy getting out in front of this and fucking like coming at them directly and getting like the stoolies paying attention to this is massive. Massive. Again, like going back to last year with Shroot Bucks and Davey Day Trader, stocks only go up. The cultural recognition that he's bringing to this problem, it should not be underappreciated. I think it's going to have a material effect, and you copy that with the fact that Barstool, with the Barstool Fund, is one of the only companies like like the government's not even helping. You have to have a fucking company like Barstool step in to save small businesses. I think you're going to see people rally behind the pleb tendy army in mass. People are pissed off, man. Uh-oh, I can't hear you. Can't hear you now. What happened? Check the comments. Maybe the freaks can hear you, but I can't. Well, I want to go on too, because you don't have this on the list. Let me know when you get back. Another thing that happened yesterday, this country's going fucking insane. The Biden administration can't hear you. Are you going to have to come in and out? Are you there? We lost Matt. He's laughing at me. He's going to go out and come back in. And I'm going to describe what happened yesterday. Oh, shit. No, it's still recording. The Biden administration, the FBI, Department of Justice, went down to Florida and arrested a man, I forget his name, a gentleman, 31-year-old journalist, for posting memes in 2016 in the lead up to the presidential election. Like, free speech doesn't exist anymore. Like, they arrested a man for posting a meme. I believe he was photoshopping MAGA hats on the celebrities. And they're trying to say that he was intimidating people not to vote. And they arrested him. He's facing 10 years in federal prison for making memes. Like, you're talking about a country that was making fun of President Xi in the Chinese Communist Party because he didn't allow people to post Winnie the Pooh pictures of him. Somebody in America, in the land of a free, was arrested yesterday for posting a meme of photoshopping MAGA hats on the people. We are no different than the Chinese Communist Party right now. You don't have free markets. We have manipulated markets controlled by the powers that be, and free speech is being eroded right in front of you. Somebody in the United States of America was indicted and has been arrested and faces 10 years in federal prison for posting a fucking meme. Wake the fuck up.
What was the meme?
He was just posting.
Nice, I'm back.
Yeah, you're back. From what I understand, he was just photoshopping MAGA hats on the celebrities that were like for Hillary, and I think they're trying to say that he intimidated people out of voting or something like that.
I just want to be clear that they're trying to censor us. That's why I got cut off of that stream.
This is true. Hey, FBI agent that's listening, fuck you.
No, we appreciate you.
No, I don't appreciate you. Go kill. No, I'm not going to say that.
Fuck you, Marty. I mean, that's crazy. I don't know much about that meme story, but if that's true, then that's fucked up.
Our boy Michael Tracy was covering it.
Wait, can I do it to you, Marty?
Yeah.
Do we live in a free country? Is we even a free country anymore?
No, we're not. But the spirit is there. That's like we go back and forth to this all the time. Like us, the individual Americans, the spirit lives within us.
Well,
it does not
say there's nuance to the subject.
Yeah, you would say that. I think it's like a distribution curve, right? Like there are people that love liberty, and then there's the fucking dolts on the other side of the curve, and then the people in the middle are just like,
I am not I'm not looking at the comments, but someone said that we should get to the Bitcoin news. What people don't realize is this is why we Bitcoin. Like this is why Bitcoin exists.
Yeah.
Like if all of this shit was going down and we didn't have the fucking lifeboats available to us, I would be fucking freaking the fuck out right now. Like I would be absolutely fucking freaking out. But instead, I am calmly in the lifeboats, shit posting the Bitcoin deniers who are like trying to do lifeboat bans, and I'm just trying to get people in the lifeboats. Like otherwise, I'd be fucking freaking out.
Yeah. What do you think about Michael Green and Nick Carter's debate and his plea to us Bitcoiners that we try to fix the system from within? Hey, Michael Green, Prof Plum, if you're listening to this, it's fucking broken. It's mathematically irreparable. It's not going to fucking happen. Give up the pipe dream of saving the system. If today doesn't prove that to you that it's fucked, I don't know what to help you. Bitcoin is the only way out. Like if you don't understand that, have fun staying poor. Okay? I'm jacked up right now, dude. This is.
I couldn't tell. I had no idea.
Should we get into the Bitcoin stuff?
We have been talking about Bitcoin stuff, but I'm down to go to the next topic on the list.
No, we'll go to Clark's dashboard.
We'll go to Clark. Yeah, are you kidding me? Okay, I'm down. Let's go to Clark's dashboard. It's a good one.
Price of Bitcoin right now is $32,590. Your cuck buck is going to get you 3,068 sats. The current Bitcoin market cap's hovering around 606.6 billion, 606.6. You're going to get 17 and a half ounces of gold per Bitcoin. Bitcoin versus the gold market cap is currently at 5.04%. We're at block height 668,100, a nice even 100 number. That's good luck there. 18,613,050.4 Bitcoin have been distributed to the market. That's 88.63% of every Bitcoin that'll ever be mined. We had a difficulty adjustment. No, we didn't. Did we? Yeah, we did.
I don't know, man. You're the miner.
That's true. Yeah, it happened over the weekend since our last episode, and that was a 1% upward difficulty adjustment. Currently, blocks are coming in at 9 minutes and 36 seconds since the last adjustment, and there's another estimated difficulty upward difficulty adjustment of 4.3%, estimated to happen around February 6th of this year. Fees going up right now. Fees versus reward are 9.13% of the block. Samurai unspent capacity is 2,295.33 Bitcoin, or $74.8 million. I think that's an all-time high. We're hovering around where it was last week.
Fuck yes.
Let's do it.
Oh. Thank you for reading the dashboard for us. We appreciate you.
Yeah, you know what? I had to. You know what? You go on something because I got to pull up the shout outs before I forget about it.
The freaks are asking about gold and saying who holds gold anymore. Only poor boomers own gold. Although I do respect that it's the only other way to hold your own wealth besides Bitcoin in a self-sovereign fashion that is actually kind of liquid. It is so much worse than Bitcoin. Like, I don't know why you would ever own gold over Bitcoin, especially not during Bitcoin's adoption phase when we stand to have massive gains in relation to gold. Like, it just makes zero fucking sense whatsoever. That being said, you know, if you are sitting on massive equities gains in trusted third parties, maybe you want to put a portion of that into physical gold, but I would just put it all into Bitcoin.
That was the Tendi armies, not gold, but silver markets. Try to short squeeze that. Apparently that's like the most.
They're going for silver.
Yeah. So we'll see if that happens. That would be.
I have a lot of friends that are like taking away the wrong thing from this, right? They're asking me what the next GameStop is.
No, God.
And so it has a lot of shitcoin-ish tendencies with it, to me, you know, so people need to be careful here, and you, this is where the stay humble part comes in, and this is why stacking sats is so fucking cool, because we can have the same end result as what these Wall Street better guys are doing, but over a slightly longer time frame, with way less risk to us. Like, we don't have to deal with this third party risk. We don't have to deal with them possibly rug pulling us. And if we're humble about it, we don't have to worry about potential liquidation risk. Any leverage trader who got fucking wrecked on March 12th will tell you about that. So it's a really compelling strategy, and I suggest everyone fucking look into it. And I doubt many freaks aren't, so I'm just gonna end it at that.
Stack Sats freaks. We're gonna take a little break to hop into our shout outs here. If you freaks listened last week, you know that there was a transaction in route for a shout out. They attached a low fee to it. It was hovering in mempools, got kicked out of a mempool at one point last week. It has been confirmed. There are how many? 900 confirmations.
Holy shit, that's not enough. We should wait.
Did they do a replace by fee? What was the fee? Yeah, they raised the fee to 159.2 sats per byte, so they wanted to get it through.
An upset freak.
Right. All right. And this is again, like I said last week, getting this particular shout out during the double spend FUD, it would have been poor form to take it and read it.
I felt bad, but I felt like it was a good learning experience.
It was a very good learning experience. And so here it is. And it's actually it's probably actually better this week than it would have been last week. What's up, fellas? Neil Kashkari here. I know I talk about infinite cash on TV, but I'm a freak in the sheets. I'm out here doing my best to usher in the Bitcoin standard. Shout out to my fellow Minneapolis Bitcoiners. I lurk in their Telegram chat by day and stack sats by night. Thanks and much love, Neil. Neil has been trying to send us a message. Maybe he bumped his fee up by 100x to get the message out that people should be stacking sats. Neil Kashkari, freak, welcome to the show.
It's proven. It's known. It's factual. No one can make that up.
Just need to lose your crazy eyes. They freak me out every once in a while. Okay.
Someone get Zero Hedge to tweet it out in all caps. Then it's fact.
Fact. Matt and Marty have some Wayne Gretzky number 99. Oh, we read this last week, didn't we?
I remember Wayne. Yeah.
Yeah. We did read this last week. Sorry for the partial double read there. Did we read that?
I fucking love that he replaced by feed his fucking unconfirmed shout out.
Had to do it, son, right?
Neil. More sophisticated than I expected.
Right, Neil. Hey, Neil's on top of it. RBF. Here's a short but sweet shout out. Thank you for the truth, Jay. Shout out to Jay. Thank you for listening.
Thanks, Jay Squad.
Glad you're liking it. GL, my BOR. I finally got my I think this is for you particularly. I finally got my multi-sig set up in place like we have been discussing on our 3-hour Zoom calls, Kobo, Cold Card, Inspector with a stop off via one of Mr. Odell's preferred mixing services. What better way to test its spending capacity than by saying hi to you through the best podcast of Bitcoin? Oh, he's talking to a friend. I feel one step closer to ultimate personal sovereignty and look forward to you joining me in the cryptographically secure PSBT-driven embrace. Next stop, I'll see you at the homestead. All my lev, F-Dog. Shout out to F-Dog.
Dope. It sounded to me like a freak Uncle Jim, that motherfucker, and I love it.
Yeah. More Uncle Jims, the better.
That's what it's all about. Guide your little nibblings.
Nibblings. I like that.
Nibblings is the only gender neutral term that I completely wholeheartedly support. It's the gender neutral niece nephew is the nibbling.
I never knew that. Never heard that.
So Uncle Jim, he has a ton of nibblings.
Nibblings. I love that.
We're not going to assume their genders. Uncle
Jim's nibblings. You're going to hate this one. Taproot activation 2021. Let's go. I agree with this.
Look, I fully support Taproot activating. And that's why I'm paying to provide an incentive to get you to shill it and Peter McCormick to shill it. I got both of you guys shilling it.
Ooh.
Now I just need to bet Stefan, and then I can just solidify the Bitcoin podcaster space just to all shill Taproot.
Stefan, if you're listening, HRF needs the sats. Matt, this is another one for you. When's Matt going to get on Clubhouse? The freaks are wondering.
I mean, it's iPhone only, and it just seems like a massive time sink. I'm trying to use social media less, but I'll probably capitulate in like a week and a half or something.
It's pretty fun. I'm having fun. It is a huge time sink, though.
I'd be lying if I said it wasn't FOMO, but I think the real FOMO I'm having is the in-person Bitcoiner meetups, because let's be honest, like I want you freaks on Clubhouse to be careful. I enjoy the enthusiasm over there. I know technically the conversations are ephemeral and they're supposedly not saved for later, so no one can listen to them later. But just remember that anyone who's in your room can record your conversation. So please be careful about what you do talk about when you're over there.
Yeah, there's definitely, I think people recognize that on the app, and I don't want to say
That's my favorite part about Bitcoin meetups, right? Is that we can talk about these things while drinking, and like you need to have a physical spook there to to get you. Like at least you get to play like who's the spook.
There's
You don't
definitely
really
been
get to do
spooks.
that.
There's definitely been spooks at BitDevs meetups. I remember one in
100%.
particular,
Some of
ex-Israeli
my favorite people are
intelligence.
spooks. Like I'm pretty sure Marty's a spook, and you know he's my brother.
Love you, brother.
There you go.
I love you, man.
Don't throw me under the bus.
I'll make sure they go easy on you.
I
Okay.
appreciate it.
You're gonna get a nice comfy bed in your cell in the gulag. We'll make sure you have access to quality food. You'll be separated from the rest of the plebs. Don't worry.
Yeah, no. Bitcoin Comics is saying in the chat that I'm not reading that people should use a burner number if they use Clubhouse because it's based on phone numbers.
Yes.
Yes, you should do that as well. I mean, consider doing that. I think did they like upload your contacts? There's like a contacts permission.
Yeah,
that
yeah,
people are
it's
talking
fucked.
about. Like, be careful about that. But I do love, I love the concept behind it, right? And the concept behind it is why we podcast, why I do this in the first place, right? And I just love connecting with all you freaks. So, yeah, I mean, I look forward to doing it at Bitcoin 2021 and at the next BitBlock boom. The next BitBlock boom is going to be fucking lit. So I'm pretty excited for both of those. We do, yeah. I'm not actually going to talk about that, but yeah.
Oh,
yeah. Let's go.
No, I will say Clubhouse, just quick derivation while we're here. No, yeah, you can tell it's extremely popular right now due to the lockdowns of the last year, and people haven't been able to it's like water cooler talk. Like people have been fiending for the ability to talk to coworkers and friends and other humans about stuff they're interested in. It just feels like a bunch of water cooler talk, Bitcoin meetup as well. People are craving these types of interactions. It is a really cool.
What scares me.
What?
Right, like if you want to talk about like everything coming together at the same time, right?
It's a push towards pod life.
What was that?
It's a bigger push towards pod life.
Yeah, it's not pod life. It's almost. I mean, if we just forget about that whole concept for a second, this idea that all of a sudden, the way 2020 went, it went from all of our conversations being default private, right? Like the majority of our conversations were happening in person, at least a big city life, right? Like the majority of my conversations, hours and hours of conversations were happening in people's apartments, cozy bars, stuff like that, in person. And then all of those conversations moved online, whether that's through Zoom or Clubhouse or Twitter or Telegram. And they're super easy to surveil. You don't need to have a physical spook in there, right? And it kills me inside. Like it's amazing how quick that happened, right? It happened so fast. And I remember like in the early 2020, I was like, we are so digitized, like it can't get much worse. Like all of our conversations are being surveilled and mass surveilled and stuff. And then it got way worse. Like it did not even like little bit.
This is
significantly.
Like tinfoil hat going off right now. Economic shutdowns happened a few months after the repo market spasms. I'm not going to say controlled demolition. I'm not going to say it.
It's not going to say controlled demolition. Wait, so do we think
controlled demolition?
So I mean, I saw your bent the other day melt up. I remember 2 or 3 years ago when I started getting involved in VC Twitter. It's funny because like I got allowed into like a couple Telegram groups and stuff that I probably shouldn't have been allowed into just because I was like a Bitcoiner pleb who like just spit fire on Twitter. And then I got invited into like VC rooms where like I should not have belonged in there. And I remember like 3 years ago, I was like, honestly, I said what Portnoy says, right? I was like, stocks are only designed to go up. I was like in a recession, in the next recession, like Google and Apple are just going to fucking pump. Like they're the blue chips are like the new treasury bonds or whatever. They just go up because the fucking money is losing value. Now I feel like that's almost consensus opinion. It's almost like in a failures, we're like I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, like this is failure state shit, right? And in failure state shit, like there's a theory, there's something here where like none of this shit goes down, right? Like it's really the shitty money that it's all priced in is losing value, and it just goes up.
American Hodl tweeted out yesterday, quote tweeted it, "We are living through the beginnings of a hyperinflationary event." And he quote tweeted Macroscope, and I'm going to pull this up if I can find it.
Yeah, the Weimar Republic tweet, right?
Yeah, the thread. It's crazy, the parallels.
Like people like run home after payday to just put their money into equities.
Let me find
value.
I slow down whenever I go on my browser. I need to use a different browser while we're live.
Yeah, I mean, so that like that's kind of where I feel I'm in right now. Like I feel like just don't get caught holding shitty money. So like you can't be caught holding the US dollar. I mean, obviously I think the best place you should be in is Bitcoin. None of this is financial advice, but it is. But like I'd almost rather be in like the shittiest equity than like in fucking cash. And it's just like you can't be holding cash, but yeah, I mean Bitcoin, let's fucking go. That's what it's all about. It gives us a proper price, a real, true free market price. And what people don't realize when I talk about the free market that is Bitcoin, this global free market, one of the mainstays, one of the key aspects of it is the proof of work, the distributed proof of work. It's this mining mechanism, right? This idea that anyone, anywhere can connect hardware, connect it to electricity, and they can get the most free market price for Bitcoin ever. That is the proper free market. That is a free market we have never seen anything like that to that level.
No, it's the freest market it's the only free market on the planet right now, other than the drug market. It's in the dark market. It's like the dark markets in the Bitcoin market. Like, and even they're being manipulated now. They're being driven to the forefront and legalized. All right, so here's one of my favorite followers on Twitter, by the way, criminally underfollowed in my mind, Macroscope at Macroscope17. And here's his thread from the book Defying Hitler, Sebastian Hafner in 1923, Weimar, Germany. The young and quick-witted did well. Overnight, they became rich. They became free, rich, and independent. It was a situation in which mental inertia and reliance on past experience were punished by starvation and death, but rapid appraisal of new situations and speed of reaction were rewarded. With sudden, vast riches, the 21-year-old bank director appeared on the scene, and also the high school senior who earned his living from the stock market tips of his slightly older friends. He wore Oscar Wilde ties, organized champagne parties, and supported his embarrassed father. This is exactly what's going on right now. Yeah, you have fucking Mark Cuban talking about his 11-year-old son making money in the stock market yesterday. Like, I think we're going to melt up, dude. I think we are melting up, which is just interesting.
It's going to be we're just getting started. This is the beginning, and no one can really fathom what happens next. All I know is you should be learning about Bitcoin.
You should be learning about Bitcoin and unite. That was the crazy thing about today, too. You had fucking hell froze over. Ted Cruz was quote tweeting AOC and agreeing with her.
Agreed with AOC.
It's like, this is freaks unite. Drop. I said this yesterday at Clubhouse. Drop the left versus right paradigm. It's not left versus right. It's a class warfare. It's class warfare. The elites are fucking shitting on all of us. They do not give a fuck. Today is perfect evidence of that. Drop the left versus right. I know myself. I've fallen prey to that in the past, recently, election cycle. But nothing has made this more clear that we need to reframe the conversation in this country, particularly from left versus right to us plebs versus the central banking and elite banking system. It is this bitch right here. It's her. We need to come at her in the Federal Reserve. Right, seriously. She's staring at me. She's like, she does not look happy. We need to come at her by doing this. Okay? Buy Bitcoin. We can unite. walk away from the system, like Matt said earlier. We can walk away. We are creating a new system. Bitcoin is being built out. We have an escape boat. We need to get as many people on the lifeboats as possible, and we can leave these motherfuckers behind.
To the freaks who are listening on the podcast, Marty has Janet Yellen behind him, and then the famous Buy Bitcoin with the Bitcoin sign guy behind, and that's who he is pointing to. Yeah, I mean, and in the spirit of unity, I would say like we welcome all shitcoiners as well. Market dump your shitcoins for Bitcoin and join us in the stacking sats revolution, in the spirit of unity. But yeah, I think, yeah, 100%. I'm excited. I'm excited. It's going to be crazy, but I'm excited that all this is playing out in front of us. And as the freaks can see that are watching the live stream, I do have a nice view. So
it's pretty dope view.
A good place to watch it from.
I have the nice view. You're facing your screen. I'm seeing the view.
That's true, but I mean, when I'm not streaming, I do.
That's true. That's true. All right, let's get into the list.
We're like an hour in. What are we?
I think we're an hour in. Maybe a little bit more. You mentioned Tor 3 earlier, but let's go into more detail on that. What are you hearing?
Yeah, nothing. Scary as fuck.
Because you tweeted about it this morning, right? Like, because they said they patched.
Yeah, I'm like problem. One of 4 people globally who've tweeted about it. There's like no that's the weird thing. Like the cool thing about Bitcoin is that there's this cultural revolution with it, right? That we have these people who are like obsessed with it, right? That we have these people that are obsessed with it and they're like super adversarial thinkers. With Tor, you have like it's way bifurcated. You have like the developer team, which is almost more corporatist, even though they're not a corporation, they're a nonprofit, right? And then you have the majority of the user base, which is dark markets, right? And then you have the Tor Foundation, which is mostly focused on like revolutionary dissidents, like freedom fighters, stuff like that, right? They don't actually ever talk about dark markets, even though the majority of the use is dark markets, right? And we're not supposed to say that as Tor promoters. We're not supposed to say that because it's like bad optics, right? Like, so we always say like, oh, Tor is meant for freedom and stuff, and it is. That's what dark markets are, is freedom, right? But like, you're supposed to like shy away from it. So we have this whole community on the dark markets, like on Dread and stuff, who are talking about this Tor outage in terms of real issues, right? Like they have issues. They cannot access V3 services again, right? This was the same issues that we saw. So their most recent address format, the way Tor works is it's not a decentralized system. It's a centralized system that has these database servers that allow you to connect out to the network, the way the network works. And the reason is because in Tor's threat model, they assume the U.S. government is fine with them. They have the blessing of the most powerful government in the world, because the U.S. government has decided that it's better for them if dissidents in other countries and stuff have access to free communications. It's a net benefit, and that's absolutely true. Like that's the American way. It's one of the few things we do well, right? So the
arresting meme posters.
Right, but the Tor Foundation is based off of that threat model, right? So that's why I'm worried about Tor in general, is because if that threat model changes, if the U.S. government decides to be hostile to Tor, like we're fucked. Like there's like Tor is done, and that's what no one wants to talk about. So it's important, I think, as Bitcoiners to realize that we can't rely on Tor uptime. We can rely on Tor, I think, still in terms of security guarantees when it works. So like if you're trying to use Tor and it's actually working and you're getting delivered data and stuff, you're probably private enough. Probably. I'm not gonna definitively say it, but you're probably private enough. But in terms of like making sure that like when I wake up in the morning and I need to use Tor, if it works, that might not be the case. So the concern to me is more uptime. And these attacks have all been denial of service attacks. So the idea is that you overwhelm these database servers, these directory servers, to the point where they're not able to serve the addresses and connections to the users, so they can't use Tor. right? It's not compromising Tor in terms of the privacy guarantees. It's compromising Tor in terms of I can't even fucking use it. And from a practical perspective, as a Bitcoiner, that means any Bitcoin node that's Tor only, specifically Lightning nodes and remote nodes, like all our favorite remote mobile clients that connect back to our node at home, whether that's Zeus for Lightning, whether that's Samurai for CoinJoin and just on-chain private spending, they use, or Blue Wallet going back to an Electrum server, they use Tor to connect, right? And if these directory servers are getting denial of service, you can't connect to them. Your coins are still safe, you just can't spend them. Now with Lightning, it's more questionable, because with Lightning, if your node doesn't have uptime for the period where a malicious close can happen, then you could actually lose funds. That has not happened in the wild yet. If you're not a sophisticated attacker, it's probably still pretty risky to do that on the Tor only node, because they could come up at any point in the next like 24 hours or so and realize you broadcast a malicious state and you lose the whole thing. So like the idea is, like, if you have a channel with a party, you could broadcast a malicious state that says that you have more of that channel than you really do, and you make that on chain. But if you get caught doing that, you lose the whole fucking amount. So like you can be trying to cheat them out of 200,000 sats, but if you have 1,000,000 sats in that channel, you lose the whole 1,000,000 sats. So it's a really nice, strong incentive not to attack. But there is that concern there.
Yeah. Fuck, man. What can we trust these days? Are they just going to like strip everything from us? Our ability to buy stocks, our ability to use these private technologies, privacy enhancing technologies.
I think one positive thing we can take away from everything that's happened over the last couple of days is that they are more, like, the powers that be are more
scared
and reactive and not prepared than one might think. This idea that there's like this super sophisticated cabal that like knows exactly what they're doing and has a plan in place is like completely incorrect. So I think while there are greedy people in positions of power, I don't think they are nearly as sophisticated as people think. And I think that there's a lot of what we see shows hope to me, and in that the people trying to keep us down are disorganized, and I think we're way more organized than they are. Like I think like we have armies of Bitcoiners going out every day and just pulling Bitcoin off the market. We have armies of people learning every day like how to defend themselves and how to create more resilient systems and support those systems. So I'm more optimistic than I am otherwise.
I'm optimistic too, but I do think they it seems like they feel an urgent need to begin again. Let's go back to that fat fuck Augustine Carstens, like the legitimate fucking archetype of an evil banker, like saying that central banks are best positioned to provide sound money of the world. Again, projection.
But projection. Bank of central banks.
And it's literally objectively false. Like central banks, one, they can't create a sound money because fiat is not sound money. You can't decree sound money. Sound money is agreed upon and developed on the free market. That is where you can't, like Bitcoin is free market money. You can't centrally plan a sound money. And obviously the state of the world is such that Bitcoin exists specifically because central banks devalue their currencies. They can't be like Satoshi. The central bank can't be trusted to debase the currency. It's literally the reason that Bitcoin exists is because they can't maintain a sound. Like, again, the projection coming from them too. They're trying to gaslight the fuck out of everybody. And again, it's aggressive. It's urgent. They seem to be rushing. They're misstepping. It's fucking, they seem nervous, the powers that be. And again, what did Christine Lagarde say? We need to shut off the exits.
If there's an escape, they will use it.
Yeah. You know what, Christine?
How fucked up is that?
Christine, you witch. You demon. We're escaping. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you.
It's pretty fucked up.
Sorry, Andrew Stottle, for cursing. Bitcoin go up.
That's never going to happen. I mean, you've been listening for a while. I'm never going to stop cursing. I can't help myself. So yeah, I think that one of the things is like when the Bank of International Settlements is shilling central bank digital currencies, it's like I'm completely fine with them doing that. Like they can go fuck themselves, but I know that that's their book. Of course they're going to do that. You know, like the Karstens, that's all he knows, you know, and of course he's going to fucking shill that. What bothers me more is when people that are getting subjugated defend it. But I completely understand the angst, you know?
My angst?
Yeah, I mean like they can go fuck themselves, right? But at the same time, like I defend
Them,
the logic the
yes, they're
logic
going to do this.
Right. The logic works out. Like, I don't expect Karstens to do anything except say that central bank digital currencies are the best and Bitcoin sucks. Right. Like,
Yeah.
obviously, he's against independent private currency.
Yeah. I
Right?
mean, in that report, like he specifically said, we do not want a private currency. And I think the case was like for chargebacks or something like that. Like the example he used was fucking stupid. It was like, what?
Yeah. I don't. It's funny that they're talking about it. Right. Like, we've won because they're talking about it. As soon as they start talking about us, we've already won. It's too late.
We've entered. We're entering they fight you phase. They've been laughing at us. I think we're in the fights. Time to take the gloves off, freaks. May have to fight dirty. And fighting dirty means getting your coins off exchange and civil disobedience. Fuck these people. They're coming for you. I'm enraged today. And again, we're seeing it in the Netherlands. It's starting there. Tighter KYC regs in the Netherlands. I believe Bitstamp had to implement the KYC restrictions that we've been talking about. Their Bitstamp is now forcing customers. They're not forcing. They're Bitstamp is being forced to force their customers to share their withdrawal address, which is, I thought Bitstamp would have left the Netherlands before succumbing to that. It's been one of the stalwarts in the industry for quite some time.
I kind of like that I kind of like the idea that the exchanges are saying you can give us a screenshot, because like really with Bitcoin we have a verifiable means to sign addresses, you know, with in a trust minimized way to prove that you own an address, and a screenshot is way worse than that. You can just have, I mean, you could have your buddy sign a message, I guess, but you could just easily have your buddy send a screenshot.
So you could just you could Photoshop it too.
But yeah, I mean, look, KYC is just like you're just going down a fucking massive hole. No matter what, it's just going to get worse and worse and worse and worse. And these companies, they have no choice but like, fuck them. Like, you know, I'm not running one of those companies, and that's why I'm not running one of them. Like, they're going to get compelled all the way down to be as horrible of a company as possible, no matter what. And as users, like, you just got to fucking isolate yourself from KYC. People are telling me that I'm way too low in microphone volume. Do you have issues hearing me over there, Marty?
You're coming in loud and clear on my end.
Last time I tried to fuck with it, guys, I got censored. I didn't get censored. It was my fault. But they censored us. They censored us, and that's why you should share and subscribe and like the podcast. We'll do the pomp. That's what Pomp did.
They took us down. Subscribe if you're listening.
It's true.
Is saying what's true.
He's listening. Appreciate you listening, Max. That I'm getting censored, obviously. No, I'm assuming he's saying that my mic is too low. But it is what it is. We can't do it on the fly. We appreciate you guys listening live, and all the freaks listening in the podcast will probably hear me great. So
yeah, you're coming in loud and clear on my end, and this is where it's recording. So you should be good when it hits the podcast airwaves. If you guys are listening via podcast, via YouTube, wherever, smash that subscribe button, that like, put the noties on,
and let me know if I'm too low. In that case, then we'll adjust it for next week. Yeah, I mean the KYC rabbit hole, like literally, they're just gonna keep taking fucking shit. They're gonna just take as much as they can fucking take, and they're gonna take more, and they're gonna take more, and they're gonna take more. And the companies are not gonna have a choice really if they want to be companies and they want to make money. And it's just gonna get worse and worse. And as users, we only have one choice. We have to opt out. We have to opt out. And you just have to say no. Like if a service needs KYC to do it, no, I will not use that service. And if you want to read more about this, like nokyconly.com, and just start insulating yourself. And like I understand, like if some people have one or two maybe max KYC services for their their KYC fiat that they're bringing in through their KYC job. Like I understand, okay, but like at the end of the day, you're gonna like they're gonna force your hand, and you're gonna have to cut ties, and you should really do it before they force your hand.
Yeah. With that being said, I agree. That's probably the most likely case, but I hold out hope that there are good people working at these exchanges. We need people to stand the fuck up. These like stand the fuck up. I know some people working at exchanges listen to this podcast. Push back. The two-tiered system has never been clearer than it is today. KYC AML is literally the least effective regulation. I think it has a 0.1% like success rate in actually stopping money laundering at all. Like it's the most ineffective, burdensome regulation. It does not fucking work. Like that's the future I want, is not where we have to run and hide and like just worry about this. We want freedom in the world. We need to compel these people working at exchanges to push back. KYC AML is literally the least effective regulation. It does nothing to stop money laundering. All it does is put users in danger by collecting too much information. And as we've learned this week, it is a two-tiered system where we plebs just get dicked on and dicked on and dicked on and dicked on. And I hope what's going on this week gives people at exchanges courage to stand up and start pushing back against this fucking terrible, terrible system that we've built.
Marty, KYC is not there to prevent fraud. KYC is there to protect fraud. KYC is there so that when we end up in a situation like we are in today, where you have retail running up against the powers that be, you're able to knock them out, right? Because if you have anonymous participants in a market, you can't do any of this control. There's no control. Like you don't know who you're interacting with, right? So at the end of the day, this is all an element of control. It's to protect fraud. It's not to prevent fraud.
Completely agree. It's ineffective, but stand up. Let's take this freedom back. I hope today, I tweeted it out. It's like a fucking Franz Ferdinand moment. Like the people are going to wake up, and hopefully this is like incites ripple effects where people have had enough. I'm mad as hell, and I'm going to do something about it. Fucking start doing something about it, people. Like just speak up. You saw what our Wall Street bets did. A bunch of fucking plebs are taking down some of the biggest hedge funds on Wall Street to the point where they had to literally like disallow you from buying the stock and liquidate for you to get back into the position. Like that was a powerful move. That was power. That was decentralized. That was individuals. That was people like you and me doing something to stick it to the big guy. Let's more of this moving forward. And it could be the beauty of it too. It's a fucking peaceful revolution. You use capital to do it. You put your money and you short this, you squeeze the shorts, you put your money in sats, you take in your personal possession, you take liquidity out of the dollar system, you get into this new monetary system where they can't fuck with you. Take your power back. Like fucking act. Let's go. Sats. Everybody join me. I had my cousin texting me, Kev, if you're listening, like I can't answer your text right now. He texted me. He's like, I'm watching the live stream. Like, how do I get on Blue Wallet? I can't answer you right now, Kev.
Download it from the fucking app store, bro. Blue Wallet. It's the name of the color plus wallet.
See, it's Kev. It's really simple. Download it. You don't even have to
down the seed. Don't put it in the. That's your secret backup words.
Write it down. Keep it safe. You don't even have to write it down right away. You should, but you don't have to if you're not comfortable with it. God, fucking I feel like Alex Jones right now, like like ready to go.
Nah.
Yeah. Marathon.
This is funny.
It's if you're a miner and you buy that many miners and you buy that much Bitcoin, to me that signals that like you're not able to execute the plugging in the miners, which is
That's what
something.
it is. That's what it
Yeah.
is. That's why I put it on the list, is because it's funny, because usually if you're a publicly traded mining company and you have capital in USD, like you would use that to buy miners, but obviously they weren't able to buy miners, so instead they just straight up bought $125 million worth of Bitcoin.
But they've also bought tens of thousands of miners before.
Right. But they already have miners. Yeah.
And I've been questioning, are they going to be able to plug them all in and be profitable with them? And this signals to me like, all right, let's get some Bitcoin just in case this doesn't work.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny because it's like a company, it's like a massive, big company that has to deal with the same like existential questioning of themselves, where they're like, do I mine or do I stack? And like they a lot of times, like if you're a miner, you have like, maybe you have 4 ASICs or something, and you're bringing in, maybe a million sats a month, and you're just like, I'm not bringing in enough quick enough, and I can't get a miner quick enough, right? And instead you stack. So there you go. That's not a small purchase. $150 million, like in pre-sailor days, would have been a big fucking deal. Now it's like whatever, like, oh, they didn't stack $1 billion.
Right. Well, pre-sailor, when did Sailor start buying? In August? What his cost basis at one point was like $17,000, and his first buy-in was like 450 million. So this is like, that's 2.5 times more than this $150 million buy, and the purchasing power of this $150 million buy compared to Sailor's buys at 17,000. It's crazy how quickly this happens. Like the institutions thinking about getting in, like Sailor's at such an advantage to these guys, even though these guys bought a lot. Like Sailor got way more sats for his cuck bucks, and like it's going to be crazy to see that competition from these big dicks trying to get in, and how much money they throw and how few sats they're able to get for it compared to first movers from that class of investor.
Yeah, I mean, it's FOMO. We've all lived it.
Yeah, we have. We're in the software update section of the episode. Very short software update this week. Sparrow Wallet version 1.0.0 major release. Uncle Marty's going to read some release notes because he's a masochist and he just feels like it. Support smaller screen resolutions down to 1366 by 768. Been waiting for that. An option to turn on HD camera capture. Supports foundation devices, passport, hardware wallet. Avoid unnecessary PSBT bloat for Cold Card and Cobalt. Default to creating a new Bitcoin Core wallet. That's interesting. Support for Bitcoin Core 0.21, and then a bunch of fixes from there. If you're using Sparrow Wallet, consider upgrading. I'm not going to force you to upgrade. Check out the upgrade. Make sure you're comfortable with it.
I really like Sparrow now.
Yeah.
Between Sparrow, it's pretty crazy.
You're coming in a lot louder now. I wonder if the freaks can hear you.
Oh, well, I'm just like fucking with shit on my side. I don't know, man. It's weird because I'm monitoring it on my same side. Like I can hear my own voice and I sound good.
You were calling me a Fed. That's a Fed move right there.
What?
This is a Fed position.
What, doing this ear thing?
Yeah.
I've learned from the movies. I do this from the movies. This is what like James Bond does. And
you outed yourself, man. You outed yourself.
I always thought this was like the cool, when I was a kid, this was like the cool way of doing it. Yeah, I completely forgot what we were talking about.
Sparrow Wallet. You like
Sparrow Wallet. It's fucking dope. The crazy thing to me is that Sparrow Wallet and Spectre are the two fucking most dope wallets we have right now on desktop, and they're both less than a year and a half old. They're like brand new. Like people don't realize. Like we're very lucky. Like Blue Wallet too is like, it's a very new wallet.
I love Blue Wallet, dude.
The comment, like all these things, like we're fucking doing it, guys. Like we're doing it. Like we're creating an open source ecosystem. People said open source couldn't scale. We couldn't get open source, and here we have like a sophisticated open source ecosystem that's indirectly incentivized by this fucking scarce asset, this digital bearer asset that's going up in value. Like that's crazy,
right? Going to add something to the list because it just got sent through to No bullshit Bitcoin. While we're on the software update, Voltage version 0.2.3 was released. That's upgrade to LND version 0.12.0. They have settings improvement, webhooks, documentation sites. If you freaks haven't gone and checked out the episode I did with Graham, the founder of Voltage, Voltage is a service that's allowing you to spin up Lightning Network nodes in the cloud. However, they do it in a way that encrypts all the data, so they don't know anything that's going on inside the servers. You have all the information. Everything is encrypted on their end. They can't see anything. A really interesting service. Go check out that episode with Graham. And if you are running Voltage version 0.2.3 has been released. Back to our list. Tails version 4.15 has been released. Anything major here?
Tails is a weird one because Tails is fucking the ultimate OS for someone who's trying to be the ultimate OS. Cubes, people like go crazy about cubes. Cubes is very difficult to use. Tails is accessible. You can put Tails on a USB drive, just plug it in, and you have a pretty private, focused experience with Electrum built in. As a Bitcoiner, it's very important that you have Electrum built in that defaults through Tor. Everything on Tails defaults through Tor. So with this particular Tails update, they updated Firefox, they updated like all the core Linux, and they updated Tor. And that's what they do every time. And it's just really important though. When you're in the privacy world, it's funny because in the sovereignty world with Bitcoin, it's important that you update slowly, right? Like we want to update slowly. We don't want a new update to just fucking decide things. In the privacy world, you need to update on time. You need to update constantly.
I'm losing your video on my end, but
me too. I lost your video. I'm glad you could still hear me though. I'm gonna back out and back in.
Okay, Matt's backing out. I'm gonna keep going here with the software updates. Fully noted version 0.2.11 has been released. If you're a fully noted user, highly recommend doing that. Fully noted is a sick project, allowing you to do watch only while it's on your phone, but also multi-sig. You can use your phone as a multi-sig key as well. Yeah, I'm not getting that mixed up with anything. I hope not. Graphene Os. They have a web installer out right now. So this is an experimental web USB-based installer for Graphene OS. Consider using the command line installation guide until this has been more thoroughly tested. So I'm assuming, I haven't been up to date, Matt threw this on the list. This is different than mobile. Are they moving Graphene to a web browser? I don't know. We'll ask Matt when he gets back. I don't know where he is. Like there's a screen here, but he's not, and he's gone now. Whew. Freaks. Well, I have you 101 while Uncle Marty has you 101. Matt's waiting to get back in, but I'm gonna pause here. The time is now. The time is now. Seize the moment. They're wounded. The establishment is wounded. Now is the time to act, to take power. The Emperor has no clothes. The Wizard of Oz has been exposed. Fuck these people. Push back. The time is now. Seriously. Matt, what's going on with Graphene OS, this web stuff? Is it like a web, like a Graphene operating system that you could use as a browser on your computer? He's muted. He's muted. So you're connecting your USB to your device. You back?
I'm back. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but you're coming in a little fuzzy. Can you hear me like straight, clear?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, now you're coming in clear. All right, I completely lost him. I hope this doesn't fuck up the episode. Uncle Marty 101 time again. The time is now, freaks. I'm just going to keep going down the list here. Grayscale donated $1 million to Coin Center, matching up to another $1 million. Coin Center is a group in DC working to lobby on behalf of the cryptocurrency industry. Matt likes them a lot. If you consider, if you want to consider donating to them, think about it. Grayscale's donating to them, trying to get favorable laws for Bitcoiners passed. This is really interesting and shows the power of Bitcoin and how it's a populist movement, a technology that enables the dissidents, the people really sticking a needle in the eye of the establishment. Navalny, who is the opposition, I don't want to say leader, he's like the opposition up and coming opposer to Putin in Russia. His donation address received almost 4 Bitcoin since he was jailed. Obviously, Russia, despotic dictatorship over there, are throwing, I believe they poisoned this dude too. And now they're throwing him in jail. And he is accepting Bitcoin donations and is almost amassed 400 million sats, which is pretty material. I let Matt in again. We may have lost Matt for this episode, which is a shame. It's been an incredible rip. I don't know. I mean, I can go solo. I'm going to go solo for as long as possible. Mining pool censorship analysis by BitMEX Research came out as well. Basically trying to calculate.
Yes, we're back.
We are back, dude. You just had me going ad-libbing there for quite a while.
I think my wireless provider just cut me off in terms of data used remotely. I was on cell data, so I apologize, freaks. I'm risking it with the cabin data now.
You got to up your plan, bro.
They don't allow you to.
Unlimited data doesn't exist
because of SIM swapping. But we will. I try my best, freaks. I try my best for you guys. I don't care about overages or anything. I pay them all.
What's going on with the Graphene Os? I was thinking about that. So it just allows you to connect your phone to your computer and you can interact with it there.
Cool.
It seemed cool, but I couldn't explain it.
So you can now, so I have probably the easiest guide to install Graphene Os on a Pixel device. So they use Google Pixel devices because it's a very standard secure elemented device that you can install this hardened privacy focused version of Android onto. But it's a more complicated process. You have to go through command line and shit. So now they have a Chrome version of this installer. So if you have whether you have a Chrome browser or you have a Chromium based browser, which is the open source version, you're able to flash Graphene on just like a clickable interface on, it's a visual clickable interface. It's super fucking easy. And what that means though, is you don't even need a computer. If you have a Graphene phone, it has a Chromium browser on it. So you can take a Graphene phone and you can go USB-C to USB-C and you can seed Graphene onto a new phone. So you can go to like a Bitcoin conference and I can bring my Graphene phone with me and I can just fucking install Graphene on everyone's phone in the bar while I'm there. Like if they just bring pixels with me. So
That's
like this is
crazy.
a game changer, I think. I think all you need now is you go buy Pixel 4a, you buy a Pixel 4 and you just easily install Graphene on it. Like that's accessible privacy. That's accessible privacy guarantees. That's what we want to see.
Steelman that phone to phone Graphene download. There's no chance of the corrupting.
Well, so what's really cool is they already had. So when you install software, you should verify it, right? And you should make sure that it hasn't been compromised. And people don't like PGP verifying, right? Like that's an issue. It's a UX issue. It's complicated for people to do. Graphene already has a app-based, QR-based verification method from another phone.
Oh.
So if you have a trusted install of Graphene on one phone, you can verify it with that phone via QR codes. So presumably, let's do a Bitcoiner example. We're at a Bitcoin conference. I install Graphene for you using my Graphene phone and a USB-C cable at the bar. And then you get another beer and you go to Evan Kaludis, who has Graphene, and you go verify for me with your QR code. And then Evan verifies. So then both me and Evan have to collude for you to have a malicious version of graphene. And if yeah, that's fucking massive. And technically you can verify with an unlimited amount of people. So then after they verify with Evan, they could go verify with you, they could go verify with Waste Slice, they could go verify with anyone they want, right? And that's pretty fucking cool. So like at
Yeah.
the end of the day, what we want to see is we want to see software that's easy to to prove what they're doing and easy to prove, verifiable means you want to be able to verify all the claims they're making.
That is extremely dope.
It's really cool. It's very user friendly. It's
Yes.
amazing.
It's experimental though, correct?
Right. Yeah. Be careful with it, but still, it's game changer. I'm excited
Yes.
about it.
It seems very exciting. It seems dope and seems like a great way to get that operating system in the hands of more people. That is like the biggest hurdle is the manual process. If you have Uncle
Phone
Jim
to
there,
phone is massive. That you don't need a computer.
right? It's massive. On to the next item of the list. The Bitmain saga has come to an amicable end. An amicable end. Jihan Wu wrote a PGB signed message to the world explaining what happened with the end of the Bitmain debacle. Jihan's stepping down as the CEO and chairman of Bitmain and will no longer be involved. And he went on like a little story about what happened, but you don't need to pay too much attention to that. Just need to know that the Bitmain civil war has officially come to an end. We reported on that a couple weeks ago, but Jihan is confirming this. Jihan Wu. We'll see if they can recover from the last few years of the questionable business practice, questionable hardware quality. Even though I hear their latest models are pretty up to snuff, but they did have quite a few batches of miners that were that had a significantly high failure rate. So let's see if this civil war being solved leads to a better product and business. Wishing luck to McCree as he takes full reign and moves forward. Love it or hate it, Bitmain is one of the most important companies in the space. They are dominant in the mining space, and mining is essential for Bitcoin to go around. So even though they've acted poorly in the past, particularly Jihan Wu is not involved anymore, I wish McCree well, and hopefully we don't get any bullshit like we had from Bitmain in the past, including Amplead, the Segwit 2x, Bcash fork, a bunch of fuckery.
I mean, I love that the whole message was PGP signed. I mean, that's what I want to see in the future, especially with fake news proliferating, deep fakes and whatnot. Like all important documents should be PGP signed. I also think it's kind of funny that like, I don't know, like the enemies of our past were like way more Bitcoiner than the enemies of our future.
Right.
Like Gian can go fuck himself, but I appreciate he uses PGP. He's ahead of like 50% of the freaks out there. Let's get it going, guys.
Right. Let's get those PGP. I can't speak. I don't use PGP enough. It's very manual. Did you have anything to add to the Navani donation? I spoke on that.
Oh, what'd you say about it?
Just that it really proves that Bitcoin's dissident tech going into the situation in Russia where he's opposition to Putin. He was poisoned, wasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's two important takes there. I mean, the first thing is one man's dissident is another man's terrorist, right? One man's freedom money is another man's terrorist money. And so like Bitcoiners are going to see this firsthand in different countries. Some people are going to say that Bitcoin is a tool for freedom, which it is. And some people are going to say it's a tool for terrorism. So I think that's important. If you send the Navalny thing to a lot of Russians, they'll tell you that, like he's a Western state actor.
CIA backed.
Of course, that's how it is. People who are whistleblowing against America are obviously going to go to our strongest enemies because we're such a strong country, and that's what we saw with Snowden, right? And if you're a whistleblower against Russia, like America's a perfect perfect team member to go to, right? Because they're the strongest country in the world, or at least arguably, if you want to say China, but America's the strongest country in the world, so of course you're going to go to them. The second take is, I mean, obviously the first take is Bitcoin is available to all, and there's nothing we can do about that, and that's really what's fucking cool, right? This idea, like, if you can block a refugee, if you can block Navalny, then you can you can block anybody. If you can block a dictator, then you can block a refugee. If you can block a refugee, then you can block a dictator. Or if a dictator can block a refugee. So it's important that just anyone has access. You can't discriminate. Once you can discriminate, the weaker amongst us, the more vulnerable amongst us will get discriminated against. That's the important thing that I think people need to realize. And then last but not least, I think it shows the issues with using a public donation address.
Right.
I feel like we should know how much Navalny has gotten since he's been in jail. It's like kind of cool that we know, but like really, like, I think in jail he'd prefer if the Russians didn't know how much he got in donations and like who he got the donations from, right? So like he probably should be using a Paynim, or like a Lightning BTC Pay server. But the problem with Lightning BTC Pay server is like he needs someone to actively manage it. The cool part about a Samurai Paynim is that he can set it up and he could go to jail and he can keep his backup in cold storage, and then when he gets out of jail he can deal with it. He doesn't need a server up or anything.
Yeah. Yeah, interesting. Is he CIA spook? Do we want that? Do we want to be meddling?
You know, I think you don't even ask. It's just, it doesn't really matter.
Agreed.
It doesn't really matter. If you're anti-Putin, like obviously CIA is involved. It doesn't reduce your character, and the reverse is true as well. So it is what it is.
Yeah. This BitMEX research report, I glossed over it earlier, but just breezed through it. It's really good. They went into detail about the efficiency of block template construction, get block template, and the ability of miners to efficiently pull transactions from the mempool, put them in the blocks, and get as many fees as possible. That process is beginning extremely efficient over time. However, at the end of the article, they warned about the looming like DMG blockchain, BlockSeer, KYC AML pools as a big step towards censorship of the network, which we've been harping on for the last month at least. It feels like, but I'm happy to see that BitMEX is standing up here and hitting the alarm bell as well. They did not mention Stratum V2 though, which surprised me a bit.
So, I mean, the cool thing here for me is the freaks know that I'm going to keep Marty honest because I feel like the North American miners aren't talking about this enough.
What? I'm the one bringing it up.
Yeah, I mean, I guess. My concern is, no. You're right.
I've written like multiple newsletters about it. I will not take this blasphemy. This is blasphemy. Like, I think anybody listening right now who has read the newsletter, I've been trying to get out in front of this more than anybody.
I wish I could see the chat right now, but I don't want to.
Look at the chat. Look at the chat. Look at the chat.
I don't want to risk the internet after I got removed. That
hurt.
I'm sorry.
That hurt.
I'm sorry.
That hurt.
I'm glad you're feisty about it. That's what I want you to be. I want you to be feisty about it. I want North American miners to be feisty about it. Okay. You have in the past. I appreciate you talking about it. You've never, there's never been a topic that you've cut your tongue with. We've had Rabbit Hole for over 2 years. You've never cut your tongue on a topic, and I appreciate the fuck out of that. I know the freaks appreciate the fuck out of that. But you have also rah-rah patriotism in America about mining, which I completely respect as well.
This is Canada.
What?
The DMG blockchain pool. It's in Canada.
It's a North American mining pool.
Well, not Canada. It's in Canada.
Okay, fine. Canada's like the 51st state. Okay, whatever. This is like bullshit distinction. It doesn't fucking matter. My point is that I don't want a large amount of miners in any jurisdiction. Like, I don't care. I love this country. I don't want a majority of miners in America. I don't want a majority of miners in North America. I don't want a majority of miners in Iceland. I don't want a majority of miners in Russia. I don't want a majority of miners in China. I want them distributed as far as possible, all and wide. And what I think is really important about this BitMEX research thing is that we've had this DMG blockchain thing happen in North America where they're saying they're like making inroads to we're going to start censoring transactions. We're going to be the regulatory compliant mining pool. What's really cool about the BitMEX thing is they're saying we don't have to trust what that mining pool is saying. We can watch on chain, and based off of the revenue differences in each block, we can figure out which pools are actively censoring. And I think that's really cool, right? Like we have this global permissionless distributed proof of work system, this mining mechanism that is completely transparent, that people see which transactions are being included in which block. So if you are going to attempt to censor, we will know that that's your algorithm, that's what you're basing it on. And I think it's extra important that we realize it early on. Like you realize it like at 12% to 10%, like that mining pool is the mining pool that is censoring. Then you allow the individual miners to really make an educated decision, and their stakeholders, like us random plebs and stuff, that maybe are investors in that individual mining operation, can go and pressure them and be like, no, we're not cool with that. Like, we don't want that to happen, right? Like it creates a situation where you can have a more efficient market. So I want people like BitMEX Research to be watching the chain and deciding and to be analyzing it to figure out when people are censoring. And I think a second portion there is people don't realize, there's a lot of new people that don't realize BitMEX Research is wholly separate from BitMEX. Like people were saying like BitMEX Research like called out a double spend because it was against themselves. Like that double spend that they talked about last week wasn't about BitMEX. They and
it wasn't even it wasn't even really double spend. Like
right, it was like a technical, but still it had nothing to do with BitMEX the exchange. BitMEX Research is wholly separate, and they've done only good work. They've never shown themselves as someone who does bad work. They've done amazing work for us.
Yeah. With that being said, don't want to hold my tongue here either. Foundry, which has amassed a material amount of hash rate in North America, in the United States specifically, is a subsidiary of Digital Currency Group. And as we know, Barry Silbert was the leader of SegWit 2X. So I interact with the Foundry people a lot, but that does make me skeptical moving forward. Like, is Barry going to try to play ball with the regulators? Especially considering GBTC and all that bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, and let's talk about the fact that GBTC keeps all their Bitcoin with Coinbase. You know, and I mentioned this on Dispatch this week. You know, all those Glassnode charts and stuff that show exchange traded balances going down, like exchange balances going down, do not include the custodians. They don't include Anchorage. They don't include Coinbase custody. So if Coinbase is holding 800,000 Bitcoin, GBTC is holding about 650,000 Bitcoin. They're holding that with Coinbase. So Coinbase has at least
1.5
million Bitcoin just between them and GBTC. And then you also have to include all of their
retail
that
customers
are using their custodian.
Yeah.
Right. So and none of that Bitcoin is ever going to leave Coinbase. And I'm fine with that because we don't have a proof of stake system. So they have no more extra power than any other participant in the Bitcoin network. But this is something people should consider. Like those coins will never, someone said on Dispatch, they were like, they're super easy to 6102. Those coins have already been 6102'd. They are never going to leave Coinbase.
Right.
They are part of the U.S. government now.
You think so? Part of the U.S. government already?
I mean, I think, the America we live in is an America where the corporations and the government are
combined. Yes, a corporate oligarchy. Yeah, the politicians are fucking puppets. They don't do shit. Did you see that fucking like hot mic that Biden got called with today? He's signing executive order. Has like on his desk, he's like, I don't even know what I'm signing. It's just like, what the fuck? What is going on here?
We're early in the administration.
He's
There's gonna be a lot of gaffes or whatever.
He's a puppet. A fucking lobbyist put an executive order in front of him and he fucking signed it. Like, it's true, a corporate lobbyist probably. So,
well, I mean, look, this has been the case with America for a long time. I mean, Our corporations, it's a very blurred line between our corporations and our government. And this is why you see so many similarities between like the libertarians and the socialists, right? Is because the government is controlled. The government is intermixed with our corporations, with our massive corporations. So you end up in a situation where they both tend to agree on a ton of fucking things.
Yeah. American HODL's been banned from Twitter again.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is just priced in already. If anything's going to be priced in, I think that's priced in.
Yeah, I mean, that should be priced in into perpetuity. So add American HODL too, suspended. I wonder what he said. I hope it was worth. I mean, it's always worth it. He'll be back,
the
though.
Real freaks have all the derivations of American HODL's name to sell him.
Right. That's the true freaks. I fucking love HODL. He's been crushing on Clubhouse, getting people into life
You guys
rafts.
have just been fucking repping it on Clubhouse, and I'm
dude,
out of it.
Dude, it's crazy because you get to the pre-coiners and it actually forces you. Like, we have these conversations and we like know everything that's going on in this podcast, particularly. Like, we get technical and we have a conversation with an assumption that we both understand things to a certain level. And being in Clubhouse, particularly in the Bitcoin weekly meetup that was last night, it's every Wednesday night at 9, really forces you to like, oh crap, I'm explaining Bitcoin to somebody who like doesn't understand it, needs like to understand the basic. And it really, I like going on it because it helps you fine tune your pitch and consolidate your Bitcoin pitch and really understand how to get people to understand this in the quickest way possible. It's been one fascinating aspect of Clubhouse is that particularly like, oh shit, like we've been in this bubble having these conversations with this assumed knowledge, and this forum forces you to sort of take a step back and peel back the layers and get back to basics, which I'm a big fan of. Always like getting back to basics.
You're shilling it to the Uber driver on the way to the Bitcoin meetup.
Yeah, exactly. Essentially. Our boy Gladstein, he's on Clubhouse as well, doing an incredible job. Came out with a beast article in Time Magazine, getting some mainstream publication. Signal, Bitcoin, extremism, and democracy, diving into the importance of dissident technology, Bitcoin and Signal specifically, just trying to get the message out there that this tech isn't only for terrorists and drug dealers and sex traffickers, but it is for people trying to escape despotic regimes as well.
Yeah, I mean, I the reason I put this is super timely. I mean, they're going to point this at both Signal and Bitcoin, and it's great to see the Signal adoption. It comes down to zero knowledge, or at least knowledge minimized, I guess, if we're going to be responsible and not speak in absolutes. This idea that you can police something, and if you can't police something, then all of a sudden that should be banned. This idea that Signal should know what their users are doing. This idea that Bitcoin users, we can't police what they're doing, so we have to stop it, is a ridiculous, dangerous thought process that we have to nip in the fucking bud and make sure that people do not go along with this on a mass scale, because it's fucking crazy. And if you think about it on a metaphor point of view, should Nike not sell their shoes because they can't tell which customers are going to use them for crimes? Should Nissan not sell their cars because they don't know which drivers are going to be using them for crimes? Should Hertz not be renting cars to people because they don't know who's going to be using them for crimes?
Should AT&T be giving people telephone contracts, like understanding that like
well, they KYC you now.
Terrorists could be coordinated, like
they
terrorism.
KYC you now. That's my point, right? Is like they're going to try and force KYC
you can get a burnt
all
like
these crevices, right? And the thing is, like, that's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's not effective.
But you don't ban. But the point is, you don't ban phones. Like, somebody could have a phone and become a terrorist. You don't ban phone. Like, even if you do KYC them initially, like you don't.
It's
you wouldn't
ridiculous.
ban phones because terrorism can be coordinated over the phone. Like, why would you ban Bitcoin? Because it could be used as a tool to fund terrorism, which is terrible.
Absolutely
Like,
garbage.
Obviously, I don't want terrorism to be funded by anything, let alone Bitcoin, but just in nature. It's sorry, the world works that way. I'm sorry. There's some things you just have to come to grips with and accept in life and move on. This is one of them. Bitcoin empowers everybody.
That's what's crazy is like our status quo historically has been zero knowledge, has been minimal knowledge. It's been not data driven mass surveillance knowledge. You know, it's been general business. You just had general business on an intimate local level, and there was no massive knowledge scape built in, massive mass surveillance built in. Nowadays, people just expect that. If you don't have that, then you're criminal. And that's a ridiculous concept. That's a ridiculous fucking mind change.
Dangerous.
Dangerous. Be careful about it.
Right. Very dangerous. Very dangerous. Again, projection. They're trying to gaslight you and project what they're doing. Like, yeah, all the elites are the global sex traffickers. They're the money launderers. Like, it's not you and me. It's these fucked up people in charge. They're doing all this shit. Fucking Christine Lagarde, that witch, got away with allowing Nicholas Sarkozy to give one of his buddies 350 million euros of French taxpayer money. She got convicted, but again, didn't get it sentenced. She got like a little finger wag. Hey, Christine, come on, don't do that. Now go see your way to the head of the ECB. It's insanity. These people gaslight and project. They are the evil people. They are the evil people, not you and me, not the plebs. It's these fucking assholes. Obviously, there's some evil plebs, there's some fucked up people, but when you compare the amount of damage done by the elites compared to plebs, it's not even comparable. It's disgusting. Are we going to get the sunset?
Can you see it? You can't really see it.
It looks beautiful.
It's pretty gorgeous on my end.
Yeah. I love the view. Last but not least, Ray Dalio, founder, CEO of Bridgewater, one of the largest asset managers in the world. Lightly shilled Bitcoin. Going to start, I think he's expanding the assets, alternative assets specifically that Bridgewater can invest in. Mentioned Bitcoin. He's at a transition where with Bitcoin over the last year and a half where he was staunchly against it, or I don't even know, staunchly against it, or just like, I don't know. Then a few months ago or some point in 2020 said, I understand the innovation here. And today he said something, previously he said, I may be wrong about this. And now he said, it's, what was the exact quote? Like it's an incredible invention or something like that. So he's somebody who's got to keep things close to the chest.
He was like super bullish about it and just like he hedged himself.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's a link to a Bridgewater Research and Insights. What he thinks about
super
Bitcoin.
Wealthy, super influential. He's talking about Bitcoin. He has a post titled "What I Think About Bitcoin." It doesn't really matter what the post says. The fact that he has a post titled "What I Think About Bitcoin" is all you need to fucking know.
Another way to read that is Bitcoin's so important that I have to write about it. So here it is.
We fucking made it, fam. Like that is us winning. Is the fact that post exists in the first place. I don't care if these guys figure it out. Like, it doesn't matter to me if they figure it out. They're gonna be forced to figure it out eventually. It is pretty cool watching it happen, though.
It is. It's
that was pretty cool front running Ray Dalio. Very few people can say they did that. Few.
By almost a decade too. It's like, oh shit. Like, you guys have been sleeping on this shit.
Well, I mean, we didn't front run him by a decade. I wish I front ran him by a decade.
I said almost a decade.
I agree. We'll round up.
Yeah, we're gonna round up. It's that was the last item. Do we have anything to riff on? I'm like, my mouth's dry. I'm like tired. I've been getting shit sleep.
Been epic. I'm glad we did the live stream. I think this is going to be a very special day in the future. A big thing that we should riff on is the white paper. They tried to put us down. We have fucking congressmen posting it on their house.
So we got
website.
Mayor of Miami,
Francis Suarez, Mayor
Francis Suarez, Emmer,
Bitcoiner.
Emmer Davidson,
Patrick McHenry was the first one to post
McHenry.
it.
Yeah, McHenry did as well.
He posted it first.
So that's North Carolina, Minneapolis, Ohio, Florida representatives, and that's a smart move by them too. Suarez especially is an incredible recruiter. He's gonna add Bitcoin to the city's balance sheet, which is ridiculous, like ridiculously bullish and incredible.
Miami's quickly becoming a Bitcoin city,
right? Well, it always has been. Like the North American Bitcoin Conference, even though it was like shitcoinery.
That's where Ethereum got launched.
Yeah, and I've been to it twice. It is a dirty conference, but
it's mostly a shitcoin city. But hopefully, we'll turn it.
Yeah. That is extremely bullish.
That's a really bad conference.
Yeah, I believe that now.
But hopefully, we'll have a good conference in Miami soon.
There's a lot of miners at that conference, so it's interesting.
There'll be a good conference in Miami soon. Freaks just have to lower their time preference a little bit.
Do you want to talk about how we got attacked earlier this week, or should we just not even pay that any attention?
I don't think we got attacked. I mean, I'm pretty sure any tweets to that factor got deleted.
That's true.
Per how they usually do, and I feel like we'd be doing a disservice to the company that he happened to found, but really is no part of whatsoever. So I don't really want to talk about him.
Yeah, that's true.
You can go fuck himself. I mean, you think you can come after me and Marty, and then we will just stand by, and you can go fuck. Like no, that's never going to happen. If you want to come at us and try and bait us into an engagement hack, then that's pretty smart. Because we'll probably give you the engagement hack, but that is not what he did. He decided to be a fucking asshole.
Yeah, and if you're going to come at us, come at us correct, not misconstruing what we're trying to say.
Okay, someone's asking. Mike Dudas came at us and said that we had no principles whatsoever. Yes, I figured out how to get the chat up without buffering my video.
Faux principles, not no principles, faux principles.
The freaks know I'm addicted to the live chat. So no matter what
I could tell.
I'm going to come find you in the live chat, freaks. I'll always be watching.
Yeah.
But Dudas came at us, and it's funny. I had people reach out to me. I had college friends reach out to me. They're like, Matt, who is this Mike Dudas guy?
Dude fucking crawled out from under his bridge. You haven't seen him in almost a year, it feels like. It's like, oh, you guys have faux principles. You don't even understand what we're saying, idiot. You completely misconstrued it.
My favorite tweet was the full caps lock, BRB, gonna take a Dudas. I don't know. It's just so childish.
No,
it's just funny.
You had the tweet of the night with one time I took his shit. Literally, I DM'd you right away. I was literally crying at my desk here. I was like, oh my God.
What was the tweet?
One time I took a shit. Mike Dudas swooped in before I could do anything, picked it up and put it behind a paywall.
So fucking good.
Fuck you, dude.
The thing that pisses me off is the block was they did pretty good work in the beginning. They did really good work. They still do good work. It's there's just too much focus on crypto and bullshit, and not on Bitcoin. And what really pisses me off is we both try. I felt like I put a lot of effort into helping them and when they first started, because it's such a low bar. It's such a low bar. We don't have quality Bitcoin news. And me and Marty don't have the time to fucking cover it ourselves. So we need people to post good articles about Bitcoin. So when the block got released, I was excited. We have someone who's logical, that's not owned by the Digital Currency Group, which owns 1 million different shitcoins and is completely biased in every fucking million. There's this CoinDesk parent company, biased in a million different ways. And finally we have someone different, and they just went down the DeFi hole fucking crazy. And then Dudas completely lost it, got kicked out of the company. I don't even know where he's going next. But it's his company that he founded. So if you're gonna tag me, I'm gonna tag your company. But to the people that are working at the block, I don't dislike you. I just wish that you covered Bitcoin more, because you cover a lot of nonsense.
Yeah, we need more of this BitMEX research type coverage of the Bitcoin space, and I don't see any of that coming from, like, honestly, like I don't remember. Sometimes you'll link to the block, but I never go to that
They put a lot of their
site.
good shit behind the paywall, hence the tweet.
Do you think their shit behind the paywall is better than our shit?
Well, the funny thing is, joke's on you, I get all of your paywall shit without paying for your paywall.
Oh,
Like it's like 50%. It's like 50% is good. It's like they have a lot of garbage, but they do good. They do way better research than CoinDesk. I mean, it's nuanced. It's a nuanced opinion. If you were gonna ask me on the street in a quick 1 minute, I would tell them to go fuck themselves. But if you're gonna ask me in a more extrapolated point of view, I think that they're probably a net benefit for the business, for the space. But only because they got rid of Dudas. Like it was a smart move that they got rid of him.
yes. Too manic. Mike, if you're listening.
He came at us. He said
just stop. Yeah.
He said he had no principles. Like
then he acted offended. Then he acted offended when we came back to him. It's like, all right, dude, you're gonna punch first. I'm gonna knock you the fuck out. Like
he didn't tag us. He didn't tag us. He screenshotted our tweets, even though neither of us block him. Right? So like neither of us have him blocked. He can fucking post our tweets.
Yeah, be a fucking man. Be a man. At me next time.
He screenshotted our tweets. He said our principles were faux principles, which is to the non-French speakers, that means we have fake principles, which to be quite honest is the most offensive thing you can say to me. Like if you're gonna come at me, you can come at with me a million things, you know, my look, anything, like all my ideology, come at,
you're beautiful,
all the things, but you come at my principles and I will fucking destroy you. Like I will fucking shitpost you into fucking oblivion if you fucking do that. And that's what I did. And I didn't delete those tweets. He deleted all of his fucking tweets. If you want to see the tweet that he sent, I will send you the screenshot because he fucking deleted it, as we said he was going to do after he fucking called us out. Like, how do you have that little conviction? You have so little conviction that your most recent tweet is 2 days ago. You piece of fucking shit.
Screenshots, baby. Got them. Don't worry. Yeah. I mean, completely unprovoked attack on our character. You're going to swing first. Again, I'm from Northeast Philly. I'm going to knock you the fuck out. I'm sorry. Like, I'm not going to hold back. Like, I don't care. You need to take a chill pill too, dude. I'm worried about your mental health.
Who, me?
No, not you. Dude, us.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's gone. We tried. We tried our best.
We did.
You know, as much as I give Philly shit, like the Northeast people, you mind people, you know?
Right.
Like
yeah.
I respect the fuck out of that, you know?
Yeah, it's true. I'm not afraid to button it up. All right. Should we end it there?
I guess I didn't even want to bring him up. I think the white paper thing is super bullish. I think people don't really talk about it enough.
Yeah. No, it's the it got Streisand affected, right?
Yeah, and I think there's an argument to be made that like maybe our developers shouldn't have to deal with that shit, you know. And like I'm hardcore as the other freaks who are like they shouldn't have rolled over so easily, and I agree, you know. But at the same time, like
I don't know, man.
There's an argument to be made that you just like strategically roll over. I don't know if this is what they did, but you strategically roll over, and you know that we're gonna have like all the freaks on Twitter and shit like get the fucking mayor of Miami to post it. Right. Fucking, we got House of Representatives to post it, and they're never gonna fucking get rid of this white paper. Like this white paper is set in stone. So yeah.
There was something else I just want to mention. We went over 33,000. We pumped during the episode. I think that can be attributed to this live episode. What else?
What about Bisk?
I don't know. What is Bisk at right now? Are you checking?
Yeah, I have it on Crypto Watch.
God, I want to
dispatch. I show so Bisk is at 35,200. I did it 2 weeks ago on dispatch. Bisk pumped to 50K on air. It was the coolest fucking thing ever.
Yeah, no, I watched it.
It's a little bit of liquid. It's just a little bit of liquid, but it's fun. It's
Are
like
people
it's
paying
fun
that
that you can
premium?
pump it. What?
Are people paying that premium?
Yeah, someone bought it. I mean, it wouldn't be at 50,000 unless someone paid it.
That's true. Is that a fat finger?
I don't think it was a fat finger. I think it's someone who doesn't give a shit because that 15% means nothing to them in terms of the utility that Bitcoin provides.
Yeah, and the upward price appreciation potential.
That's what people don't realize. Like, if you need censorship resistant money, you do not care about 15%. But all of a sudden, when we hit these levels, right, 15% is $7,000. Like, that's crazy.
Right.
Like, that's insane. Like yeah, you just can't even those things can't be fathomed. Like, people don't realize this shit.
That's double the price of March 15th last year. That premium.
March 15th last year, $3,500, 10x, easy.
Yeah.
10x. People saying Bitcoin debt. Fuck you. We should have all bought way more during March. If you listen to Rabbit Hole Recap in March, we were bullish.
I am happy with my dip buying back then. I'm proud of myself. Future Marty, present day Marty, is very proud of past Marty, March 15th, 2020 Marty.
The coolest part of Rabbit Hole Recap is the freaks. You guys make it worth it. The second coolest part about Rabbit Hole Recap is that we have like this time capsule, right? Like, it's going to be crazy to look back, and you're going to have like 5 years of Rabbit Hole Recap like every week, just like us. Just like how we feel about the week is like a ridiculous concept, right? Like, it's like this idea, like you can just get like what they were thinking at the time is like fucking insane. And I hope that we're channeling the freaks. Like, I think we're a time capsule for all the freaks. We're not just a time capsule for me
for ourselves,
like fucking colluded thinking.
Right. No, I agree. And I think this episode particularly will be an interesting one to look back at. Especially if today is as pivotal as I think it is. Maybe I have just some recency bias considering all this is going down today, but I have a feeling this is going to be an inflection point in some way or another. I love you, brother.
Dude, I am in shock. I'm super excited. I don't even
right?
know. It's so weird. I bought so much Bitcoin today. So what you should do for your friends, I think, is a good one this cycle, is in your group chats, like hit them up and be like, every morning after you stack, message them, be like, was I the only one in here who stacked today?
Am I the only man in this group?
It gets them going. Like, today I did it, and this guy was like, are you going to pay me my fantasy dues? Like, you owe me. And I like paid him. But I was like, you should stack. Like that's important. It's important that you stack.
Yeah. Watching The Sopranos, make sure you're paying up with your dues. Going back through that.
Well,
catalog.
I told him I was going to pay him, but like, he wanted it in Venmo, and like, I can't pay him fucking $3,000 on Venmo at once. Like, it needs to.
You were
in fractions.
You were the bag holder for the
I'm the
league.
commissioner. It's not the bag holder. I'm the fucking centralized third party. I'm the trusted third party. That's a security hole, and I fucking leverage that shit. Because
did you put it in Bitcoin?
Once you're a Bitcoiner, once you realize you can be the trusted third party, you want to be the trusted third party in every situation. You're both anti-trusted third party, but if there is a trusted third party, you should be the trusted third party.
Hey, give it to me. I love you, freaks. Again, crazy times we're living in. Take a deep breath. Exciting times. Fight back. The enemy is exposed. More exposed than ever, I would argue. Like, they don't have a fucking leg to stand on. I'm going to end it with a nice, beautiful kiss from my girl, Janet.
Oh, wow. I saw this.
Did I get her on the lips? Hey, honey. We're coming for you.
It's a meme in the making. Stay humble, stats. I love you, freaks.
Peace and love.